Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. I know that the audio isn't good, but this is not a problem. Today I decided to talk about a game that I played against a 1300 rated player from Sweden. He sent me a message he wanted to play, so we decided to play a couple of games, and this is a pretty decent game and a very good explanation of what is the level between someone rated 1300 and 2600. So I played with d4 because the stronger you get, the more you appreciate having a long-term positional advantage, with a lot of space in the center. I played the London system, which I will always recommend even to stronger players. Very simple opening, choice from me, and he played f5. And I know for a lot of you, this is just the biggest blunder ever. Maybe I should just delete it, by the way, those question marks, but it makes sense. He's just taking a little bit of space in the center, and sure, this is not the best, and if I play very slowly and I just bring my pieces into the game, at some point something will collapse. This is just clear, crystal clear, but it doesn't matter, because as long as someone has an idea and it's not refutable in the finger snap, it doesn't mean that the idea is good, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily lost. It's playable, maybe not good, maybe not even decent, but playable. All right, I just brought my pieces into the game. Knight f6, c4, c6, knight c3, and the stronger you get, the more you love those long-term advantages. Bishop d6, all right. I took on a d6, which isn't good according to the engine, but I was a little bit in the bullet mode. Usually, what's playable is usually to go something like that. But then I thought, yeah, but what if he goes queen c7 at some point, knight d7, and then I will have to solve this issue here. So it was a little bit too early, so I decided to take, and then play knight e5 with the intention that now it's very hard to apply pressure on this long diagonal since we don't have the bishops anymore, and since the bishop is no longer on f4, if needed I can play f4. So that was the whole plan of the London system, and this is the whole plan I knew from this opening, and we can tell that from now on it's no longer the opening for me. From now on I don't even know this position. I know it exists, but it's not really my, that's it. That's basically it. Alright, he castled. I played bishop to e2, just bringing my pieces into the game. He went knight to e4, and now when I see knight to e4, I feel like, yeah, he has some tension around the c3 square. Maybe he has something around the e4 square. If I manage to just bring my pieces into the game, I will have some more, some more perspective. For the moment, for the strategical aspect, which works really subconsciously, it's not like you look at the board and you see the square and you're like, oh, I should be better or I should be worse or whatever. No. You should be able to create something out of it. For the moment, I can't really see what white is going to build. I'm missing some evidences that my position might be dangerous. So I decided to castle, which the engine doesn't like, but this is a decent move. The engine prefers taking because there isn't quite a good way of recapturing. If you capture with a d pawn, then you're giving me long-term some breaks, right? Oh, oopsie. And if you play f takes, then in the long run, maybe I have some pushes over there, so I can go queen d2, long castles, and the engine just counts those 3 pawns against those two as an advantage for white, because eventually in the future I will have a pawn majority on the king side. So then castling on the queen side can make sense since I'm about to just blast through the king side. So this is what the engine thinks. Now that I'm looking at this position makes a lot of sense, I will think about that the next time. By the way, this is how we get better at chess. We learn from our mistakes. All right, he took on e5, which is just wrong. I just captured back on e5. I thought about capturing here very briefly. You can see the amount of time that I took, so not even a single second. But even here, when I castled, I was like, yeah, if needed, I can always capture. And here I just decided to take back, yeah. Now I took on e4. By the way, if he captures here in between, I just take back, and sure, my position is equal, but I have so much more space, and I'm pretty sure that something might be happening in the future. Some queen b3, some rook b1, and if I start applying pressure on the queen side, it will be very hard for this bishop to move without creating any weaknesses. For example, if he wants to move the bishop away after I play rook b1, he has to go rook b8 or b6, but rook b8 will waste a little bit of time, especially if I push a4, a6 like the engine wants me to, or if I go queen b3 and he wants to move the bishop away, he will have to go b6 or something. And every time he goes b6 or bishop something or rook something, in the worst case, I will just take on d5, play c4, open up the center, and then my huge pawn majority in the center is going to talk about this minority in the center, yeah? The black minority. Anyway, Anyway, in the game, what happened is that he went queen e7, so I decided to take, and now, if he captures back with the d pawn, okay, the engine wants c5, you see the engine moves, but it doesn't matter, because humanly, I just see that something might be happening around those squares, and that's basically all I see, because there is nothing more that can be seen. I just see some fighting potential. So now what I should be doing, as, you know, as someone that knows how to play chess, is calculate a plan and an idea that involves, you know, the only fact that I can recognize those pawns doesn't mean that moving those pawns is a good idea. It's just giving me some perspective, but a perspective isn't a decision, neither a plan. So he took back with the f-pawn. Now my idea was just to take, play queen b3. I'm preventing this bishop from joining the game. And notice, I'm slightly better developed. I have slightly more space. His position is still equal, but I'm having an easier game to play. You know, I don't know if you see the engine evaluation. I think you don't. Yeah, but here it's 0.8. So I'm slightly better, but it should be holdable. Queen e7, rook f1, which the engine doesn't like because now it jumps from +1 to plus 0.9. You know, this is all right. You know, it's just that the engine tells me that at some point I should be capturing. Maybe I really don't know what the engine wants. The engine just wants to have some long-term ideas against something like b6. Then when I capture, he has to recapture like that. Maybe, I don't know. Oh yeah, queen a3. Ah, okay, and I'm winning the c file. Actually, it's funny. I showed a position like that to one of my students. Today. So that's very funny, you know, this idea of, I didn't realize that it was the same idea, just, you know, at this point in the game, I did not realize it. And basically, he has no one to guard the 7th, you know, and then I can just attack from behind, I guess. I don't know what the engine wants me to, I mean, I know how to play from now on, but I don't know what the engine expects me to see in the blitz game, where I'm just taking literally like 25 seconds. All right, rook f1, thinking that he will never be able to play bishop d7, rook f8 because of the pawn on b7. So notice that I have a positional idea, but I need some practical proofs and evidence that it's giving me something. He played queen to g5, and the problem is that it's just allowing me to fight on the dark squares. Notice that all the pawns are on the light squares, and suddenly the dark squares are weak. In the game, I'm not thinking, oh, the dark squares are weak. I'm just thinking, oh, wait, but this is bad and this is pretty good. I might have something. So this is literally what I'm thinking. But anyway, rook f4, just in between. The engine wants queen a3, which I ended up playing. It's just that I prepared the move like I always do. It's just, yeah, actually I played queen b4. This is why I played rook f4, just to defend here. Yeah, this game was a couple days ago, I forgot. Queen b4, I'm just threatening to penetrate, and this is very simple now, you know, the game is just, it's just fine. Yeah, here you see some question marks, but it's just that the engine drops from +2.5 to +2, so it's okay. Here I'm threatening to win the pawn. He captures here, so in between I capture on c4. Now I'm winning all the pawns. I have passed pawns, so I push them. I'm just make sure that I'm not blundering anything tactically. Here I played queen e5 because my threat was to go d6, and if he goes queen takes, I can trade the queens and push, and if he goes rook takes, I have rook f7. And if he goes, by the way, this is funny, d6. If rook takes, I have rook f7. If he captures, I go rook f2, king f2, and there shouldn't be anything, because if check, I think I can even play queen g3. And yeah, exactly, the engine gives me correct, and basically basically I'm threatening mate, and I'm also threatening to push. So even if he captures, does this, I have e7, this and that. Of course, I'm not calculating that far. In a real game, I just see that there is d6 and rook f7, you know, because it's a blitz game, so I'm just working with forcing moves. King g8, rook f7, and he resigned. Here, maybe this was stronger, but I don't care. You know, queen d6, queen e5 is very good. I'm threatening rook f7, threatening d6. And by the way, if d6 queen takes, and I can just trade the queens off and mate. So this is pretty good. Yeah, this is basically the difference between me and 1300. I don't want to say that I'm better than 1300s, because obviously those players can be very strong. But it's still very interesting to see that the game is just not the same for everyone. Not in the sense that I'm stronger and he's weak, he should retire even though he doesn't know how to play yet. But it's just that this is just to show you, I'm functioning with forcing moves. I'm functioning with, some clear advanced moves that are quite difficult. It's just that I can add to this. I didn't really produce any ideas. If you look at the time clock, I took like 40 seconds for the whole game and he took 2 minutes, but really the only knowledge that I had to produce in this whole game was I played the London. Okay, I see a 95 is strange because of pressure here. Let's just avoid the pressure. and now play for the plan that I know. I played the game in Germany. I already analyzed the game on the channel. It's my previous upload, by the way, where I had the black pieces in almost the same type of positions, just that I had the pawn on c3. I was like, white had the pawn on c3, and as black, I had the pawn on c5 and the pawn on f7. And I ended up having some hard time dealing with this knight on e5 because we traded off the doctor bishop. So it's really just a strategical aspect of the game that I already caught in some previous experiences that I just reused against my opponent. It is really as simple as that. I mean, as simple as that. It's hard, you know. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I'm the greatest and this is simple, and I'm, you know, it's not that I'm cocky and humble at the same time. It's just that you have to understand that the strategical knowledge comes with experience and practice. You know, the tactical knowledge and the technical knowledge comes with training, but the strategical and practical aspect from the game only comes with experience or coaching. By the way, this is very interesting. I am organizing now, once again, at my academy, group classes every Saturday. The link will be in the description. And basically, every Saturday, I will be talking about a certain topic. There is a whole list, you know, in the description. You can just go check it. It's, you know, it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the future. Take care.